What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Thanks so much for being here. Good morning. Welcome to day 2 of FlynnCast. It's awesome that we have a bunch of people here already. So I've never done that thing before where people come in as I'm not here and you kind of sitting in the waiting room, but it's great because sometimes I start and there's nobody here yet. So I was actually just pouring some coffee. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks so much for being here, and I'm here to bring some sanity to this insane world. I'm still looking for a tagline for FlynnCast. Also, if you didn't know, I'll be doing this on another channel eventually once I get a few more subscribers over there. So if you wanted to check it out, you can actually go to FlynnCast over at patflynn.com/FlynnCast. We're going to do some more streaming there more often during this crisis, just to kind of be there as support, to be there to help take your mind off of things, and to be there to have some fun and games. I could do it here too, but I wanted to keep things sort of separate so that I don't sort of just kind of create a barrage of things here about things that aren't necessarily business related, because we're going to have some fun too. We're going to have some fun. Lauren's here, Tommy, Chris, Steve, Jerry, Hot Breath Pod, Chris, Rohit, Lit, and Dan, Truffle Shuffle in the house. Fantastic. So I figured as I do this on the daily, again, we're doing this at 8 a.m. every single day, at least on this channel for right now. What's going to happen is I'm going to be experimenting. I'm going to be experimenting with how to do these live streams in a more sort of professional fashion. Eventually, I want to have some of you potentially call in and ask questions in that regard. Maybe we can do some site reviews on the computer. I definitely want to stick around, or make sure you stick around, because I want to play some games on the iPad as well. And again, just have some fun and keep ourselves distracted here. Hello from Kirkland. Yeah, wow. Jerry, hope you're doing okay. Carrie, hello from Cleveland. So what are you, or what have you been doing to stay busy? It's just been a very interesting time. I mean, even though this outbreak's been happening for a while, day 1 felt like yesterday because it was the first day after all the quarantining and sort of social distancing rules have come about. I also know that there's been some recent developments in some larger cities. Bars and restaurants are closed. It's quite a time. And I think, we all have the ability to step up and create during this moment. As my good friend Michael Hyatt once said very recently here, what does this make possible? And I think that's what's keeping me moving forward. I think this is what is keeping a lot of people moving forward. And if you've seen in my recent videos some of the sentiment from myself about this, it's kind of, well, now's our time to sort of lean into content creation. And that's sort of what I'm doing here in different kinds of ways. More podcasts are coming out. More videos are coming out. Live streaming is now a part of my thing. And it's not the best right now. I'm still trying to figure out how all this works. But yeah. Hello, Rob and Russell. Cool. Please keep it casual. Suits you more. Yeah, I meant more professional. Like, hey, we're gonna add some more fun things, not necessarily professional, as in sort of broadcast level, if you will. Because I think it's pretty professional already. Anyway, to kick it off, I'd love to be here to answer some questions that you might have. If anything is sort of providing any anxiety for you that you'd like to talk about, we can talk about that. If not, we can just answer random questions. I'd love to make this sort of more fun and interesting over time. So if you have any ideas, I was thinking of, pulling ideas from a hat at some point. It's been, thrown around to do more drawing. Yesterday, we didn't do so well. I had a little bit of a fun thing going on yesterday where some of you shared some ideas for what I could draw, and it just didn't go over very well. Let's see. Chris says, do you operate, and it didn't go well because I just was very nervous and was not drawing very well, and people were making fun of me, but that's okay. That happens all the time. Jordan from Taiwan. Chris says, Pat, do you operate your business under the same entity, or do you set up different LLCs for each niche site and things like that? So this is a great question. So for a while, it was all under one umbrella, Flynn Industries LLC. And since then, I've had different companies sort of pop up that are separated. And I've done that for different reasons. Number one, let's say, for example, securityguardtraininghq.com. This was a niche site that was billed at smartpassiveincome.com, sort of as a public experiment. And then over time, it started to gain some traction. So then I separated that out because ultimately I wanted to sell that thing. I wanted it to be kind of separate. And that's actually what happened recently. I sold that business, which was really cool. Food Trucker, another niche site that was started in 2014 about teaching people how to start food trucks. And first of all, you might be thinking, Pat, you don't have a food truck. How might you be able to teach that? Well, I didn't take the position of expert. I took the position as somebody who was on the journey of learning about food trucks, connecting with experts and collating that information and putting it out there in the world for everybody. And it did very well. It started to generate a few $1,000s a month, and I recently sold that business too. That started out separately because I was working with some partners sort of fairly soon after I started that business. The software company that I have, SPI Labs, which now houses Fusebox, a smart podcast player, and things like that. Well, that was separate as well because there was a partner involved. SwitchPod is separate because there was another partner involved. Essentially, it's looking like anything where there was partners involved, I wanted separate. And that's kind of the best practice because you don't want partners coming in on a current business that you have, and you want to sort of keep things siloed, if you will. Tony says, have you ever George McFly'd someone to wake them up? McFly. No, I haven't done that because that would be rude, right? Nobody likes Biff. We don't want to do that. Hasta la vista, boss. Hey, everybody. Adrian from the UK. Let's see. Magical football from Pakistan. What mic are you using? The sound is too good. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. So the mic that I'm using is actually a Rode NTG1. A Rode NTG1. This is a shotgun mic that's literally right off a camera here. So it's actually pointed directly at my mouth, and it sounds, this is like what you see on sitcoms and, the big boom arm. I actually have a boom arm that's sort of over here. Let's see if I can even show it to you. Let's see. Create new scene. Yeah, okay. So this is us here, and that's the boom arm. There's my light with the boom arm and the shotgun mic up there. It's very grainy using the camera. That's just right on the phone there. Oh, Tony says no. I meant put headphones on them and blast metal music. Well, that's even worse. Although a hazmat suit might come in handy right now. To be honest, I thought you meant just like McFly. B2 says, actually, let's throw up some comments here on the stream. Why do you change the design of the SPI blog? Well, we're always looking to improve the user experience on the blog, as well as things like search engine optimization and just wayfinding through the website. So the recent design is featuring a lot of new things like the search bar on the homepage, the ability to see some of the guides, and also the last time the design came out or was redone was in 2015, I believe. And at that point, we didn't have courses. The only thing that I had that was my own was my book, Let Go. Will It Fly wasn't even a thing at that point. So it was nice to kind of give a refresher so that we could sort of update it for everybody. Let's see. Truffle Shuffle says, I'm afraid to niche down. Would you recommend serving contractors in the home services niche or go to more specific to something only like roofers? To be honest, I would start with more specific, knowing that and being open to the fact that you're likely going to sort of expand out over time. It's just going to be a lot easier to cut through the noise and to find that first client. If, let's say, for example, a roofer comes and sees you, doesn't know who you are, but you're just helping general contractors and all kinds of home-based services, they don't quite know that it's for them yet. And plus, there's a lot of other people serving them as well who are more general too. However, if you position yourself as, well, I help roofers and I have specifically tactics and strategies and contracts and things that can help you as a roofer, like that's my specialty, well, they're going to be more excited much quicker. A quick story, there was a guy who sold a bug spray. And this was a universal bug spray. It was like a great formula. It killed all kinds of spiders, roaches, ants, you name it, any bug, it would sort of kill it. So he bottled it up and sold it as the universal bug killer. Well, it didn't sell so well. And it's because people who have an ant problem want the ant killer. People who have a roach problem want the roach killer. People who have a spider problem want to get rid of the spiders, like me. But what he ended up doing was bottling it, the same formula, for different bugs. So here's the same formula, can, with a spider on it, spider killer, ant killer, roach killer. And then it's sold like hotcakes because people have a specific problem. They want to go to the specific solution. Tommy says, this tech setup is amazing, Pat. Is your tech stack listed anywhere on the blog? If not, lead magnet. Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate that. I'm going to be really honing in on the strategy here for live, and then I'm going to be sharing the equipment eventually for sure. But I mean, I have a Rodecaster Pro with me over here, which is providing all these cool colored buttons, as well as some music too, actually, which is pretty cool. And in addition to that, we have the Stream Deck here, which allows me to switch between computer and even my iPad. Actually, I want to play some Geometry Dash eventually here for you. I think, let me turn the iPad music down. Sorry about that. Have you ever played this game? This game is pretty crazy. So I have not completed any of this. Let's see. Almost there. Oh, there's another part? Okay, hold on. So yeah, let's see. What have we been doing at the house? Well, April's sort of taken over as teacher. Teacher. She's been doing the homeschooling thing. We've never really done that before. But it's been really neat. The kids are taking onto it pretty well. They're really excited. We got this giant whiteboard with the schedule and all that kind of stuff. It's been really great. Me, I've just been doing what I can to put out some fires. I have to make some announcements very soon about some really big things that are, as you probably can assume, have to be canceled, like my events and some workshops that I had going on. So it's tough times. A lot of things are getting canceled, but I'm looking for where there might be opportunities, hence this live stream. This being also very early in the morning forces me to wake up. And this is a strategy that I am doing very purposefully. So as much as it is here to help you and I'm here to serve you, it's also there to hold me accountable to getting up every morning, changing, and getting things done. And also starting the day by delivering some value. I think that, especially in this time, as hard as it might be for us having to make our own changes, it's important to see how we might be able to serve others at the same time too. Okay, so let's see here. Been following you since 2010. This is great, says Craig. Wow, you're an old school member of Team Flynn. It wasn't even known as Team Flynn back then. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. What have you been up to, Craig? Tell me what's new in your world. Let's see. Chris says, thanks for the answer, Pat. I'm an architect, by the way, which I know is one of the reasons why I was initially drawn to your podcast. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I have a huge respect for architects. Obviously, I came from that world, and I still miss parts of it for sure. Absolutely. Going back to Tommy's question about the tech stack here, I always get the question of, what software am I using to broadcast? How am I moving to the different screens? How am I adding text like this on top of the screen? It's being done through a tool called Ecamm Live, ECAMM LIVE. And it's really great. And yesterday I was trying to figure out also it has this ability for you to use it as a virtual camera, meaning anything that you can pop up or do using Ecamm, you could use as sort of a camera in other tools like Skype or Zoom. But it wasn't working out yesterday. So that's, I still have to figure that out. How can I ask a company for a free promotional trial? So number one, try to determine what the value might be for them to give you that free trial first. So if you have an audience or if you have a podcast, a blog, anything, it could be a great opportunity for you just to begin with. Number two, I would see how you might be able to develop a relationship with that company first before you ask for anything. If you use anything that's similar, for example, that could be a great sort of lead in. So, hey, I use this particular thing and it's seemingly not as good as yours. I'd love to give it a try and see if I might switch because here's what I might do. I might actually end up promoting it to the audience and that sort of thing. You need to let people know that you are serious about this though, and that it's something that's real, because I think that they could potentially assume that, well, you're just asking to try to get something for free and not give anything in return. It's always going to be about what's in it for the other person. Patricia, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Love all the colorful hearts. Thank you. Hasta la vista, boss says, Pat, you're an inspiration based on the sites you've done in the past. I will build my site around crane training. Would be a good idea to make pages for hiring and selling cranes as well. Yeah, I mean, I would just try to make your stuff the sort of one-stop shop, all resources, similar to what happened in the food truck space for me and the security guard training space. I think niching down, like I always say, the riches are in the niches for sure. Fabiano says, good morning, Pat. Thanks for that video. Samson is, it is someday. Yeah, I saw your comments on there. Thank you so much. And I saw also there were comments about you just kind of going, well, I can't really hear the difference. I think the biggest difference is really the price, but the ATR 2100X definitely had a lot more drive or power. But the Samson, just out of the box, $59 was very, very powerful, and USB-A as opposed to USB-C, but still definitely worth the price. Bob says, your headphones around your neck lend the same credibility as a stethoscope around a doctor's neck. Hey, look at that. That's kind of cool. I never thought about that. And hey, if I could be here to medically help anybody, which I'm definitely not qualified to do, I would. But I can help people mentally through this catastrophe and hopefully take our minds off of things. Chris says, Pat, you inspired me to start my mobile business. No way. I contract for others programmer in 2011. I've been doing it ever since. Now I want to expand on that. Been struggling with what to do. Craig, mobile game business. I contract for others. I would love to chat with you, Craig, because I've had this idea for a game and a friend of mine and I want to move forward on it, but we have no idea what to do or where to start. So if you could reach out to me, that'd be amazing. I'd love to see maybe what your portfolio is like or who you might work with already or kinds of games. We're looking for a particular kind of game developer that is more sort of side-scrolly and also very animated. So a lot of graphics. We have a lot of the designs already. So if you could reach out to me, that'd be amazing for sure. Hot Breath Pod says, my show is like the actor studio for comedians. No way, that's amazing. I have clear understanding and connection with my target audience, but I'm struggling to build listeners and viewers. Any tips? So this could be potentially branding. I would definitely try to pick up a lot of the things that I talk about in my book, Superfans, because you might not need that many listeners in order for you to get some really good growth from within. So having people share it. And these are the kinds of shows like that are really, really well done that can get people excited who are in that space. Obviously, I'd love to go a little bit deeper and find out, what category you're in and potentially how you might be able to leverage the guests that come on the show to sort of build that following as well. I think that would be really interesting. And getting onto other podcasts would be really great too. If you could get onto other podcasts where people are talking to comedians and learning from comedians or training comedians, you could come on as an expert and sort of get in front of people, give tips based on the interviews that you've done. And then over time, you could sort of hopefully start to grab some of those listeners for yourself too. Really quick, in case you haven't seen already, make sure to subscribe to FlynnCast. This is a new YouTube channel that I have come out with. There are no videos there yet, but this is the channel that eventually I'm going to go live on every day, even into the multiple times a day, potentially. Bring my family on, do a lot more things that are not necessarily business related, but just more gathering, being together as a community there. And eventually we're going to be broadcasting there daily as opposed to here, which will be mostly, I'll still be broadcasting here, but we'll be making it very, very focused on business right now, as you can tell with especially the things that are happening in the world right now. I kind of just want this to be a general place for us to kind of meet together and communicate, and whether it's business or not, like we're going to have some fun. But check out FlynnCast. I think that would be really great. So patflynn.com/FlynnCast. You can go and subscribe there right now if you'd like. Cool. Marvin Chronicles from Da Nang, Vietnam. Good to see you here, Patricia. Always good to give value before asking. Thank you. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Francis Detroit says, hey, Pat, how feasible is it to do affiliate marketing from South Africa to a U.S. audience? I mean, definitely feasible. Why wouldn't it be feasible? I think a lot of times these language barriers, or at least even just distance barriers, I mean, distance is not really a thing anymore when it comes to the online space. And as long as you can provide value and you are speaking the same language, then it could be a win. And I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to affiliate marketing. How can you offer a recommendation that's going to be a win for them versus affiliate marketing like it was back when I started, which was, let me just find a product on a marketplace that has a high commission, and let me just find and even pay for ads to send people through that link. That's not going to work. I mean, it can work, but then, like, think about it. As soon as you stop the ads, your offer is not shown anymore. And even the people who have clicked on that link, I mean, you don't even know who those people are. So getting an audience of a certain type of people with a specific set of problems can be the answer for you to understand, okay, well, what might be best to serve them? It might be a product of your own. It might be a product of somebody else's. It might be stuff for free. It might be written content. It might be audio content, what have you. All right, let's keep going here. Pat, Alex, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Big fan, Pat. Been listening to the podcast for years. Thanks for all that you do. As someone who literally built an empire starting in a recession, what's your top advice for a small biz during these times? Create. You are spot on, Alex. This feels exactly the same as it was. I mean, there's different circumstances, obviously, but it feels very similar to 2008. Things getting swept, out right under you. And not really knowing what's happening next. But all I did do, and what really saved me, was finding a group of people that I could learn from. I was really inspired by the Internet Business Mastery podcast with Jason and Jeremy at the time, and a few others, Tim Ferriss. So finding people, mentors, if you will, virtual mentors that I could connect with, or even just read and consume to get me going and get me excited about, well, how might I come out of this? What might make this, what now does this make possible, was what I eventually had to learn how to answer. And then I started creating, and that's when I created and really went all in and leaned into, helping people in the architectural space with that exam. And then still within the recession, starting to build smartpassiveincome.com to help people based on what I learned, and just finding that group of people that I could serve. And it was very slow start, but eventually that turned into something amazing on the other end of all that. V-Trek says, thoughts on effect of coronavirus on drop shipping. I think the biggest effect when it comes to anything related to physical product is going to be the manufacturing chain, especially from the manufacturing level. The supply chain and the shipping stuff is still going to be going, but can we still make those products? Are there going to be enough product to ship? The other thing, obviously, that I think is interesting is at this time, like, how much are people going to be willing to buy things? And it depends on what it is that you're selling, obviously. But certain things I would imagine that are in different industries are going to be sort of bought less because people are going to be saving their money more than before. However, there are potentially industries where you might see some flourishing, especially if it's related to things that people need, i.e. toilet paper, right? If you started a toilet paper drop shipping business and you had relationships with toilet paper suppliers, I mean, you could probably be doing really well right now. Dan says, that's a great idea for doing an AM stream. I've been struggling to make my own content between job, family, and clients. I should do something like this now that my job's on hold until sports come back. Yeah, man, I was thinking about you because I know that sports is your thing, and we don't have sports right now. It's kind of a weird time because I was expecting that it was going to be March Madness time and season, and we were going to be having some fun with that. At least, stay at home, hunkered down, watching sports. But sports isn't even a thing right now. It's kind of a crazy time. Life with Trong says, this time off finally allowed me to start my blog today on Bluehost with your link. Thank you. And great. I love that. You're leaning into what is possible right now, and you're starting to get those things in motion. Now that a lot of us have time, we can, start to implement a lot of these things, which I think is really great. Good for you. Darianne Hubbard says, I use PC. Is there Ecamm Live for us? No, but there is and are other solutions that are a little similar. OBS, broadcasting software, open broadcasting software is one. And there's, I think, a few others that might be of use. If you have a PC or know of any PC solutions, feel free to share it in the chat for Darianne. Hey, okay. Not sure if you remember me, but you and Chris did a one-day BB in 2015 on me. Wow. Just want to say thank you. Have a website portfolio that makes $25K monthly, and it all started with you. And big shout out to Chris as well. That's amazing. I remember when I was a professor. Great job. Thank you for being here. And I hope that through all of this, you're still continuing to keep your head up and keep your head above water with your business and your clients. Yeah, wow. That's a blast from the past for sure. Okay, so quick break here. We completed level 1. I think we gotta move on to the next level, right? So now we're back on track. Let's see how we do. So far, we haven't died yet or had to start over. And that's the frustrating thing with this game. When you die, oh no, see, okay, 12%, you start over from literally the beginning, even if you get to 97%. Okay, so these yellow things make me jump, and I have to not hit them like this. Okay, there we go. Sometimes oh, okay. You kind of just know when you're going to die in this game because you make one false move and it's okay. Attempt number 4. Any guesses on how many attempts this will take for me to complete this level? I'm only at 18% right now. Okay. We'll get to 10 attempts and then I'm going to stop and answer more questions. This is one of the most frustrating but fun games I've played ever. And it gets kind of crazy in the further levels when you go upside down and go the other way. I think that's actually where I did not keep going before. All right, it's coming up. Okay, there we go. I think we're beyond where we were before. No! Okay. 26%, that's good for now. Let's see. Enjoying the show. Thank you, Arian from France. Nick says, hey, Pat, I really appreciate your content and the information you choose to share with us. You've helped me get the courage and be prepared to start a podcast in a new language, which is Low German. Fantastic. That's great. Let's get some music up on here because I think that'll add a little bit of personality and flavor. Now, if you do have a podcast, let me know in the chat. Tell me the name of it. Love to give you a shout out. And also, I think that one thing that I need to do more of is adding a little bit of music behind some parts of my show. I used to do that more often, but now since the podcast has become very, very mechanical, meaning it's very automated, there's been less of me getting my hands involved in the editing process, right? So there are moments in shows that could add another sort of level of flavor to the show using music like this. Alex says, amazing advice, definitely fangirling. Thank you, sending love to you and your family from the UK. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate you. We're here for each other. Nick says, hey, Pat, I have a membership site, podcast, online course, etc., and lots of ideas for more products. Question is, how do I prioritize my ideas to focus on the right one? I have too many ideas. Okay, so let me draw something for y'all. All right, let's get the right pen here. I want the, let's see, where did I go? I want the mechanical pen. The marker will be fine. No, studio pen, there we go. And I want black. Okay, so if you have too many ideas, here's what I would recommend. Let's say you have one idea, 2 ideas, 3 ideas. 3 different ideas. Well, how might you determine, what to prioritize? Here's what I love to do. I love to take the DeLorean out for a spin. So I use this strategy all the time. Now, you might know DeLorean from Back to the Future, right? So here's what I do. I imagine that, let's see. Okay, so let's say this music's bothering me right now. So let's say, for example, I choose idea number 1, and then I think about myself 1 year ahead of time. And I question, well, what is life like? If I were to choose that and it went well, what is life like? What is my business like? And what is my day like? and I think about that. I actually hypothetically choose that direction. And then I go back and I assume, okay, well, that's what that's like. And I might, through that exercise, just really quickly realize, well, that's not for me. And then I choose idea number 2, and then I go down the same path. And then I choose into idea number 3, and I go down the same path. And then soon I just realize, well, I want my life to be like this, or I don't want it to be like that. So let me scrap that idea. Ideas are great, but we need to flesh out these ideas. And our brain does a great job of coming up with ideas, but not so great of a job of organizing them and actually filtering them, right? We just come up with ideas all the time. And that's the power of the brain, but also the sort of crutch. So fast forwarding to a year, 2 years, maybe even fast forwarding just to, a month from now, what's the work that's being done? What is your daily life like? What are you doing? And then kind of rewinding and then starting with idea number 2. This is always how I go back and determine, okay, well, which of these ideas? So, for example, let's say you have 2 potential ideas for the name of a podcast. Well, choose one. Imagine what the artwork is going to be like. Imagine sharing that with people. Imagine people talking about it with each other. Imagine a year from now you're featured on another show and you drop that podcast name. Does that fit the bill for you? Does that make sense for where you want to go? Come back to real life, go into idea number 2, do the same thing too. So hopefully that helps. Nick says, Pat, I have a membership site, podcast, online course, etc., and lots of ideas for more products. Question is, how do I prioritize my ideas to focus on the right one first? Okay, so that's the question we just answered. When our professor, do you think this virus will help a lot of employers realize that remote workers can be effective, potentially, and change the way the U.S. labor force works? Will more freelancers enter the market? So this is a great question. I would imagine that this is going to be the case. I would also imagine that as a byproduct of this, potentially meetings are going to be a lot more efficient, hopefully, because meetings are definitely a drag for sure in a lot of businesses and companies. But also, it's, I think, going to empower a lot of people to potentially even ask for remote work if they've done it before and it worked, and hopefully provide a little bit more freedom in people's lives too, which I think is really great. So I definitely think that that will be the case. In 2008, when I got laid off, it was very similar. People started going home and working from home, although even though we had the internet back then, this is 2008, obviously, we did have the internet, there were less tools to use. We have more tools now than ever to stay connected, to keep track of work, to submit files and keep businesses going sort of outside of an actual location. There's a lot of businesses that work completely remotely who are actually thriving right now. And doing okay. ConvertKit, for example, they don't have a building. This is an email service provider that I'm an advisor for. But they all have remote workers, and they've been able to build a business with a $20 million run rate, right? Which is really amazing. So that's yearly annual revenue. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a great observation, and there could be some good opportunities to, if you are working from home, that you can potentially ask for that more later, or pitch to your company that this might be a thing. I will say that there are definitely challenges with remote work and work-life balance at home when sort of moving to that kind of environment to try and stay productive. I have a video that's coming out very soon with my top 10 tips about working from home and remote without driving yourself crazy. Francis Detroit says, thank you for the great answer, Pat. Been following you for the last 4 years, but really started listening to your podcast during the last 12 months. Glad you are doing more on YouTube again. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Carrie says, what game is this? Well, I was playing Geometry Dash, as you can see here in the lower left-hand corner, but I just downloaded a brand new game, Mario Kart, which is going to be something that I want to experiment with. I haven't played it yet on the iPad, so we'll get to that in just a moment. But I do want to answer some more questions here. Let's see. Where are you getting your music, says Carrie. So, great question. So, music I'm getting from artlist.io. So, if I go to the computer here, let's see if I open this up. So, artlist.io is a website I use specifically for getting music. And what's really nice about Artlist is you can sort of check out the different themes and genres and moods, and the music's really great. And the other thing about this is you can use them in whatever way you want. I mean, these are songs that I would potentially listen to on the radio. They're that good. You could also get music from, let's see, audiojungle.net. AudioJungle, oops, did I not spell that right? I can't necessarily see what I'm doing here. Oh, okay. AudioJungle.net. So AudioJungle.net is great for music too. And then I just have them here on the Rodecaster Pro in like buttons. So I can, change, I can have different effects. And then different music. Cool. So 1 Hour Professor says, let's throw this up. Also recently got more into YouTube. I see this as a big focus for you as well. Any interesting secrets you've found to increase your watch time on vids? Yeah, the number one thing that I've realized when it comes to watch time is the hook. Giving people a reason to stick around. So in your videos, the most important thing is within the first 10 seconds, share and give people a reason to stick around. That's gonna increase the opportunity more than anything. And then of course the thumbnail. The thumbnail is a huge deal when it comes to this. Pramonic, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you for that. That definitely helps. Sending you high vibrations, sending you tons of positive energy, love, and peace. Thank you for that. I receive it. I give it back to everybody else too. So let's spread that around. Thank you, Pramonic. That means the world. Steve says, I missed the bit about how you are casting your iPad screen to the Mac. What software are you using? So I'm using Ecamm Live. So I have the iPad Pro connected to a USB-C cord, connected to the computer, and I just plug it in, and Ecamm Live actually just sees it as a new screen, which is like another screen, which is pretty amazing. But let's go back to the iPad. So I must link my Nintendo account. Really? What is this doing? Okay, it's not going. All right, I'll try to fix that. But I'll answer some more questions. Nick says, is having a blog for your podcast vital? The culture I plan to create don't exactly use the internet much, and a podcast is already a stretch for them. It is not, technically, you do not need a website to have a podcast. So for technical reasons, you don't have to have it. I would still recommend having one for search engine optimization purposes. However, you don't have to have a blog. A website can be key because then you can get people to come back, and then you can get their email list. You can serve them with other things if you ever wanted to promote something. And also think about it, if you have advertising and sponsorships, it becomes another sort of real place of real estate that you own, that you could pop up an ad, you can showcase them and feature them. And of course, show notes, links, anything that's helpful sort of as supplement to your podcast can be really great there. But you don't necessarily need a blog where, okay, now you have to write content for them that's outside of the podcast. Russell says, I would like to start a podcast, but I'm not a great speaker. Do you have any books that you would recommend, or should I just dive right into it and hope to improve? Number one, I promise you that if you dive right in, you're going to improve. That's just naturally what's going to happen. Number two, realize that I was not a great speaker and communicator either. Would you guys like to see actually, I'm not even going to ask. We're going to go, and I want to show you the video. So I'm going to go to YouTube here. And I think I might have this available. How might I grab this? Let's see here. I'm going to go to YouTube and see if I could find it for y'all. But this is going to be a way for us to see just what it's like when you're starting out, because you have to be the disaster before you become the master. So let's see, I'm going to go to videos, and then I'm going to filter visibility, unlisted, apply. Let's see. Okay, so my first recording ever. So I'm going to play this, and hopefully you're going to be able to hear it.
Hey everybody, this is Pat from the Smart Passive Income blog. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this. I think that's so awesome that you guys are helping me out figure out all this new podcasting stuff. I'm actually just bought a whole bunch of podcasting equipment for myself because I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I figured, hey, why not do one? So really, I really don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, so I just wanted to get familiar with all the equipment that I have right now and what it's like to post something online and hear what people think about it. So, you tell me, should I give up on podcasting now because my voice sucks so bad, or should I talk a little deeper, or I really have no idea. So, again, just thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. Keep coming back to the website. I got tons of information coming up in the near future. And let's make 2009 a great year for all of us. Let's make it the most profitable year we've ever had. And I'll try my best to help you get there. So again, good luck with everything. Happy holidays. And this is Pat Flynn from the Smart Passive Income blog signing off. Peace.
Yeah, so that's hard to listen to. So that was my very first audio recording, and I bought all this equipment. I had it for a year and a half before, after that moment, I finally created my first episode. So all that to say, you got to be a disaster before you become the master, and you got to get through that. There were some books that I picked up for public speaking that were really helpful. There's one in particular. Let me see if I can find it. Stand and Deliver by Dale Carnegie. Now, this is a book for public speaking. However, it is a book that I definitely recommend because it is... is this the audio version? Oh, this is the audio CD. Let's see. Stand and Deliver. How to Become a Masterful Communicator and Public Speaker. So this was a book I read that gave me a lot of great advice when getting up on stages, and this can definitely help you for podcasting as well. Honestly, the number one thing that helped me was getting up my podcast and just getting going. Honestly, I've improved so much. It's an amazing byproduct of a podcast is you become a much better communicator. Bok Choy, says Unu. Let's see here. Timothy says, enjoying your shows, having trouble getting guests on my show. You, me, and comedy with only one show done. How can I get more credibility with them to be on the show? So number one, definitely start with your network, anybody that you might have a relationship with, or a second tier level relationship. You can have a friend of yours. If they know somebody that can be on your show, you can have them or ask them a favor to make an introduction. That always works best. Number two, if they have anything coming out, or if they're going live, or if they're going on tour, use your podcast as a platform to help support them, to put it out there for them. And then maybe even people, if they've written books, you can invite them on the show to push more of their books out. Again, what can you offer for them would be the positioning for sure. And then finally, once you get a couple names on there, then you can start name dropping and sort of getting people excited about coming on your show after that. Jeff says, Pat, I appreciate all your great content. I'm a film and TV producer. I've been planning several podcasting course ideas for years. This will give me the time and space needed to start. Awesome. I think that's a very, very smart thing for sure. Chris says, once FlynnCast is up and running with the daily streams will be available to watch at any time, will you be able to watch past sessions? Yes, absolutely. That'll be the primary mode of content there. So what Chris is talking about is FlynnCast. So this is something that I'm going to be starting once we get to probably 1,000 subscribers. I'll be promoting this more heavily soon, and this will be where I'll be going live multiple times a day to sort of just be there as a space for us to communicate, to collaborate, to just have some more fun outside of the how to start a business sort of space, and just sort of keeping things separated there. That's going to be very much a family sort of thing as well. My wife and my kids might come on the show there too. Hot Breath Pod is asking, how do I add comments on the screen? That's using Ecamm Live. It's really great. I'm also now able to play the iPad, and we can move forward and get this Mario Kart Tour thing going. Pull down to fire. Boom. Okay, I see a lot of bright light. What's happening? Got it. Triple mushroom. Yes, we all know the rules for how we can sort of crush it in Mario Kart. If you lift your finger off the screen, what did that say? Okay, do I have to do this thing now? Okay, I am actually driving this. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's not. Okay, Whoa. This is not like I remember. I need the controller. Okay, there we go. Getting the drift. Okay, I gotta learn the controls for that later. Sorry, you guys. Getting distracted there. We only have about 7 more minutes till my meeting at 9 a.m. And again, I'm going to be doing this every morning here on SPI and eventually on FlynnCast. Make sure you subscribe to FlynnCast, a brand new channel. I think we have like 60 subscribers there now. I want to get to a few hundred before I start broadcasting there. And that's where I'm going to be broadcasting a lot more. Make sure you hit the bell notification icon there also so you get notified too. All right, let's see. Holly says, hi, first-time listener, and I'd like to know about the software you're using on the iPad and more about your architectural background. Thanks, Holly. I appreciate you. So used to be an architect, got laid off in 2008 in a very similar sort of recession-like feel as we have right now, and I started a business helping people pass an architectural exam. And then things just took off from there. And then my business, smartpassiveincome.com, was built to help show people how I did all that, and I've built several new businesses since then. And now I do lots of things like YouTube, podcasting, write books, speak, all those the speaking things sort of on hold for now. And as far as the software to get the iPad in, I mean, literally the cool thing about the iPad Pro is you can use it as a second screen. And I just plug it in via USB-C and Ecamm Live reads it as another screen. And I can just come in here and do a lot of fun things like draw, which is really neat. So yeah, let's see what else. We got another question. I would love to intern for you, Pat. Please let me know about the opportunity, Connor. Thank you, Connor. We haven't had any interns before, but that's okay. Maybe in the future, but for right now, we are not looking for anybody new at the moment. Let's see what we should play a game where I draw something, you try to guess what it is. That'd be kind of fun. But for right now, I think we're just gonna have some fun here. There's your morning coffee, everybody. Appreciate you. This is a clear glass, by the way. Okay, a few more questions from you guys. Thank you for the music, but you can shut it now, please. 1 hour. After you shave off that beard, can you rock a mustache with a French curl for a couple of days? That would definitely be a no. Alex says, more of a holistic question. How did you find your purpose with work? And how did you define what audience you wanted to serve and navigate from that journey from architects to food trucks to businesses? So with the architecture thing, that just came out of a need that I saw in the space, as well as the same thing with the food trucks. I just kind of knew that nobody was really stepping up to serve people in those particular sub-niches. And what I mean by sub-niche is I wasn't helping just architects. I was helping architects who were focused on taking exams, who were focused on taking a very specific and particular exam, the lead exam, right? When it came to the food truck stuff, that was very much based on conversations I had, as well as keyword research. The keyword research showed me that there was this huge space on food trucks, which was a growing market. And I just went into that market, started asking questions about what people needed help with and what was available to them for help, and there was nothing. So I went in there and tried to create something for them. When it comes to smart passive income and what I've done here, the purpose really comes out of connecting with the audience and seeing what I could do to help. And really just coming from a place of service is really how one might find their purpose, and that's what I would recommend. Top of the day to you, Clinton. All right, I got a lot more questions coming in, and let's see. Elizabeth says, good morning, enjoying drinking my coffee with you the past 2 days. You asked about our podcast. Ben and I started a new one that is everywhere, but Apple still waiting, called This Isn't Every Day. I love the name of that, and great to see you here, Elizabeth. I hope you and the family are doing well, and likely we're not going to be seeing each other in person at the meetings anytime soon, but at least we're able to see each other online here, which is great. I just want to remind all of you, check back in tomorrow morning, come in, have coffee with me. Just, we're enjoying each other's company through this crazy time, and I'm here to serve and answer as many questions as I can to hopefully help you feel a little bit more comfortable during this time. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to play some games. We're going to do a lot of other cool things. If you have any other ideas about what we can do to make this interesting, let me know. And I have a meeting coming up very soon, but I want to answer one more questions one more question here from B2 says, personal branding or company, what do you prefer? I mean, me, typically, I prefer personal branding because I want to step into and connect on a human-to-human level with my audience. But that's the answer for me with what it is that I'm providing. But I want you to imagine what SPI would be like if I didn't show up as much and it felt like it was coming from a company. And, everything looked a lot more professional. Everything was, very company-like. It's not going to have the same feel. It's not going to connect with people. And the quick final story I want to tell you before I have to go is back in my architecture exam days, my website was called Green Exam Academy, and that's still around, actually. And I wanted to treat it like a company, right? I wanted things to be very professional looking, very serious. But I promise you, it wasn't until I showed up and showed that Pat Flynn was the author behind it, that I had taken the exam myself, that I also had some struggles with it too, that people started to show up and they started to connect with me. And in March, I think, of 2009, the company that actually writes the exam questions came out with their own guide. And I thought I was done. But quite interestingly, that was my most profitable month with more customers than I ever had or even could imagine at the time. And it was because people started to see that, okay, well, yes, there's this company that's now coming out with this guide, but people could connect more with me. I actually asked questions to my customers. Well, why did you choose me over the United States Green Building Council? And they said, well, I feel like I could relate to you more. So I'm not saying this to say if you have a company that you are doing it wrong and you're not a personal brand. A lot of people don't want to do a personal brand, or it just doesn't make sense to do a personal brand. But the big lesson here that ties everything together is how might you, either way, still show up and connect with your audience? How can you show up to serve? How can you lean into content creation in a way where people can realize that you understand exactly where they are and what they're going through? And in any time in my history, with all of the businesses that I've had, when I've nailed what I could help with, it's just become much easier. Things unlock once you know exactly how to help, and more than that, the language that your target audience is using. So that's the final lesson for today. Thank you all. Appreciate you. Team Flynn for the win. Make sure that you subscribe to FlynnCast, a brand new channel coming out very soon. And I'll be going live there more often and just with some positive messages. During this time, it'll be going live every day as soon as we hit sort of a milestone subscriber mark. So that way, when we go live, there will already be a community there. And it's different than this one because I don't want it to be business based. I want it to be just fun and games, distraction, like outside of work, just a space for my family and I to come together to help and serve you too. Invite some other people just to kind of have general conversations and really sort of, again, bring people together in this time where we're going to be very isolated from each other too. So patflynn.com/FlynnCast, check that out there. And yeah, let me answer Russell's question here really quick. Another newbie question: how did you deal with judgment when you were first starting? I want to start a tech podcast, but there are already people that are eons ahead of me. Yeah, and guess what? They have their own way of doing things, and you will too. You actually have an advantage coming in now because other people have started the hard part for you, proving that market. Now you can go in and determine, okay, well, what are they like? What are they doing? What do people like? What do people don't like? Look at the reviews, see what people are enjoying. Just because they're ahead doesn't mean they're doing it in the best and most optimal way possible. You have the opportunity to see things from a bird's eye perspective to understand how you might be able to come in there and bring something even better. And I promise you, even if you were to talk about the same topics, people are going to enjoy it for the way that you do it because, Russell, the number one thing that you have as an advantage over everybody else is you. Nobody's like you. You are 100% original. Use that to your advantage. Use your own experiences and purposefully go in there to determine how you can make it better and different. Different is better than just better, actually. Cool. Appreciate you all. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Put it in your calendar. Looking forward to seeing you. Thanks, everybody, and take care. Peace.